Today on Ian vs. Daddybones, we're talking about vehicles from Masters of the Universe Origins and opening up Mekaneck and the Ground Ripper.
Oh boy, kids, we're gonna have fun today!
Yay! Hey! Alright!
How is everyone doing tonight?
Welcome back! It's another exciting episode of Ian vs. Daddybones. I am Ian Daddybones. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. Special high five and a nut dap to all the Patreon subscribers. Hi everybody to all the YouTube subscribers. Today on the show, I got a bunch of shit that we're going to talk about. I got vehicles from the Masters of the Universe Origins line I'm going to discuss. I got Mekaneck and the Ground Ripper I'm going to open up later on the show. I got this classic WWE Legends Elite Collection Shawn Michaels figure I'm going to talk about briefly. But to kick things off, today, we had a successful toy hunt through Mattel Creations. Mattel Creations had a live drop today at noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. Pacific time. But today's figure that went live was Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Revelations, God Mode, Evil Lyn. Dark Lyn, Evil Lyn, whatever you want to call her. Basically, this is the third Evil Lyn figure that has come out in the Masterverse line so far. The first Evil Lyn figure is based on Evil Lyn's appearance in Masters of the Universe Revelations. Her second figure that's currently on pegs in stores is what's being called the Skella Sorceress version of Evil Lyn, because in Masters of the Universe Masters of the Universe Revelations, when Skeletor gets a hold of the Power Sword and Skeletor says, by the power of Grayskull, Skeletor transforms into Skelegod. And when Skelegod is running things, Skelegod winds up murdering the Sorceress. And while murdering the Sorceress, he appoints Evil Lyn the new Sorceress, and by naming her the new Sorceress, he's kind of making her a prisoner of Castle Grayskull, because she has no clue that she can't leave now that she's been promoted to Sorceress. She's stuck there. And then there's a time later in the series where Evil Lyn is able to get the Power Sword from Skeletor, and when Evil Lyn says, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, Evil Lyn turns into this God mode version of Evil Lyn. So she gets all super jacked, and her hair goes from like long and white to like short, spiked and cropped, and she's basically got ultimate power, and it's a really sick version of the character. So this God mode version of Evil Lyn was made available today, and it came in a special decorative collector's box. It went live today, and I was fortunate enough to get one to add to my collection, so I was grateful and thankful for that. But after the Dark Lyn figure got released, Twitter is exploding with Masters of the Universe collectors because everybody's all pissed off, because apparently Mattel decided to release Snake Men Wave 2 on Mattel Creations, and those figures quickly sold out. So right now, like, Mekaneck and the Ground Ripper that I'm opening today is part of Masters of the Universe Origins Snake Men Wave 1, which is the rebranded, renamed Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 11. So they made it waves 1 through 10 with Origins, but going forward with Wave 11, it's being referred to as Snake Men Wave 1. He's a part of Snake Men Wave 1. I got King Hiss, Thunder Punch He-Man that I'm going to talk about on a future episode of the show. Those are the two deluxe figures of Snake Men Wave 1. Like I mentioned last week on the show, you Patreon subscribers contributed to one of the characters that I pre-ordered with the Snake Men Wave 1. I'm currently waiting for those to get released and get shipped out to me. But Snake Men Wave 2 is going to consist of Snake Armor Skeletor, which is from the 2000X series, You got Tongue Lasher. He's the final main Snake Men character from the first squad of Snake Men. Then you have Mini Comics Roboto, and this is where it gets weird, because the fourth character is Hypno, and he appears on the cross sale art, but for some reason people aren't finding Hypno available online. And if he is available online, his pre-orders are already sold out. But the thing is, there's a fifth mystery character that's part of Snake Man Wave 2, and it's basically the white boy of Rulers of the Sun, Duplico. And basically what I am understanding based on Duplico, he's the master of duplication, and I believe he can make copies of himself. So he's basically the Jamie Madrox multiple man of Rulers of the Sun. And his figure was listed on Mattel Creations. His figure quickly sold out. Now, some people don't know if Duplico is going to even get released in stores, but some people are saying he's going to be a Walmart exclusive. So I'm sending all my viewers out, all on the hunt. Keep your eyes peeled. If somebody's able to find a Duplico in the wild, hit me up through a message on social media. Let me know. You can send me a direct message on fucking Twitter. You can get at me through the Ian vs. Daddybones Facebook. If you're a Patreon subscriber, all you need to do is just hit me up on the Patreon. And yeah, let's try and find me a Duplico. I'm going to keep my eyes out for him, but that's the thing. Snake Men Wave 2 isn't fully available across the board. Like, everybody's not available for pre-order on some of the toy retailers and websites and whatnot. But you know, I'm keeping my eyes peeled, and right now, like I said, through the Patreon subscribers, I already got Snake Men Wave 1 locked down, waiting for that to get released so they could hit my credit card and take the money for that so they could ship it out. But I wanted to talk briefly. I mentioned it last week. I kind of broke my cherry when it came to WWE Elite Ultimate Edition action figures. I originally said I wasn't going to jump down the rabbit hole of WWE and wrestling figures in general because, like I said, it's a deep dive across the board. Like, it's a never-ending journey when it comes to collecting wrestling figures. You know what I mean? It's like, if you start now, you're already too late. You should have started years ago type thing. And I just feel with wrestling figures, there's so many that at the end of the day, you could have like a Rubbermaid tote full of WWE action figures. You could have like 50 figures in a tote, but at the end of the day, you got 10 Steve Austins, 10 John Cenas, 10 Hulk Hogans, 10 Undertakers, 10 Rocks, you know what I mean? 10 Triple H's. You know, at the end of the day, there's so many different variants with wrestling figures, and now it's to the point to where not only is like WWE and AEW aware of how their fan base collects the action figures, but the wrestlers themselves go out of their way to even pre-plan their gear designs so they know they have a specific outfit design that they can wear on a pay-per-view just so it gets over as eye candy. So next year, that's one of the outfits they're wearing in the video game. Next year, that's one of the outfits that the action figure is getting released in. Like, a good example would be Johnny Gargano wore that outfit in NXT that basically looked like Wolverine's costume, and he got that action figure. You know what I mean? That's fucking dope. Like, me personally right now watching wrestling, I'm a big when it comes to wrestling, I've always been a fan of The Miz. But lately, The Miz has been wearing this gear that I refer to as the Ian vs. Daddybones colors gear. Because for anyone paying attention, the colors associated with the Ian vs. Daddybones brand is lime green and pink. And for those of y'all watching right now, If you want to know why the color scheme of the show is lime green and pink, because it's just a little subtle homage to my marriage. My wife and I have been married for almost 18 years. When my wife and I got married, Amber and I had the color scheme of pink and lime green for our wedding. So for our wedding reception, that's what all the colors were and whatnot, and the decorations and shit, and it was really dope and fresh. So my wife and I have always associated those colors together. So moving on with this new project, I'd kind of like with the theme song in the beginning of the show when you see my little cartoon face spinning at the screen and whatnot, and you hear everybody screaming, "Hey, all right, how's everyone doing tonight?" That's my kids going, "Yay!" I got Owen and Natalia in a room one day, and I was sampling them, and and I was like, "All right, kids, I just want you to get really excited and just give Daddy a nice yell, yay!" Like, you guys just walked in the house and it's like full of Happy Meals and shit. You know what I mean? Yay! So, everybody, there's a little contribution, and little ninja stars that I'm throwing out to the shit that I care about to tie it into the show. But basically, The Miz started wearing ring gear, where he's wearing black gear, but he's got the words on his gear, and everything's in pink and green, and it just looks really sick. So I look forward to seeing Miz getting an action figure next year where he's rocking that gear. And I believe he may have been scanned for the new 2K23 video game coming out, because I believe that gear is already in the new video game about to come out. So that's pretty fucking fresh. So the way, not just the wrestling companies, but the toy manufacturers, the wrestlers themselves, like it's all a collaboration and whatnot for like future merch, because they know how this shit works, and they know what collectors are going for and whatnot. But when it comes to me, I originally said I wasn't going to dive into wrestling figures, because basically from being around indie wrestling for the past 10 years, anytime you go to a wrestling show, there's always somebody selling old magazines, which I absolutely love. Just throwing it out by the way. If you were an indie wrestler, friend of mine, in general, you go to an indie show, I am definitely looking for old WWF magazines from the 90s, and I'm looking for WCW magazines from the 90s. Basically, I'm looking for WCW magazines from like 96, 97, 98, and 99 up until the company closed, because I was buying those. I was buying those issues. Those are the WCW magazines I was buying when I was in high school, and when I got out of high school, up until the company closed, and when Julia was born and shit. Like the other episode when I was reading that 2001 issue with Taz on it. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Then you need to head over to the patreon.com, Ian vs. Daddybones. Throw me $1 for 30 days, and you can watch me flip through the issue of WWF magazine from January 2001, from when my daughter was born. That was the issue that was available back in the day. But basically, I got a rule with the action figures. If I'm going to start buying WWE figures, I got 2 rules I'm going to follow. Well, actually 3 rules I'm going to follow. Number 1, childhood favorites only. Number 2, one figure per superstar. I'm not going to fall into that trap of having like 10 different Cenas, 10 different Austins, 10 different Undertakers. No. I'm going to have my own collection of my favorite wrestlers from back in the day, growing up. And this is my Shawn. There is another Shawn that I would like to get, and that's the Ultimate Edition Shawn Michaels, where he's wearing the red entrance jump off and he's got the hat and shit. I would love to have that Shawn Michaels, but to me, this is my Shawn. This is my favorite Shawn. I have this version of Shawn Michaels in He-Man form. I've already talked about him on the show. I pretty much gushed childhood nostalgia all over that motherfucker with how impressed I was seeing HBK in a 5.5-inch Masters of the Universe scale. But my only complaint about that Shawn Michaels figure was that Shawn Michaels figure, while he had the 16 points of articulation, and he was able to bend his knees. Unfortunately, with the knee pads on the Shawn Michaels figure, I couldn't exactly pose him in his HBK pose, where he's got the knee stretched out, his knee and his leg stretched out, and he's throwing the bicep. You know what I mean? His sexy boy pose. You know, I couldn't do that with the He-Man scale figure. It's funny, the Horde Trooper does the HBK pose, no fucking problem. But the Shawn Michaels figure can't do it because he's got that extra plastic on his knee, so the knee doesn't want to bend. This one was kind of a pain in the ass, but I still got it to work nonetheless. But yeah, like this is how I will forever display the Shawn Michaels figure. Doing the HBK pose, and he's rocking the same gear. He's rocking the same vest, only it's on a smaller, more detailed scale. But overall, I mean, it still says I'm too sexy for this crowd on the back, which honestly I was wrong, because there were prototypes and images that were shown on the internet before this figure hit stores, and there were versions where he had different sayings on the back of the jacket, like Shawn Michaels has left the building, or when Sensational Sherry started managing him, he had like the Shawn Michaels name logo on his back with like a woman's set, like it was like Sherry's eyes, the Shawn Michaels, and then the heart and whatnot. I saw that on a prototype version, but at the end of the day, this was the final released version for this Shawn Michaels figure, and honestly, I decided to grab him while I was at Target last week because my buddy Jay, who helped me out with my Frogmonger, Jay wound up assisting me with a pre-order. I wasn't in a position to take care of it on that very day, so Jay came through for me, took care of the pre-order, and then I just paid Jay for the pre-order. And friends helping friends out with toys. So thank you very much, Jay. I appreciate that. But basically, Jay wound up pre-ordering me the WWE Ultimate Edition Bret the Hitman Hart figure that's about to come out. And I think it's the dopest Bret the Hitman Hart figure I've ever seen. He's wearing the ring jacket. He's got the jacket arms, so you can pose him in entrance mode. You know, like he's wearing his jacket and he's got his sunglasses. Or you could pop the jacket arms off, take off the ring jacket, pop on the other set of arms that come with the figure. They have the tape wrist, naked arms, and then Bret also comes with an alternate head that has his hair hanging in his face with no glasses that looks pretty fucking sick. So it's a Bret Hart figure you could display in his entrance gear, or you could display him in his ring gear, and it's just absolutely sick. So that's my one Bret, and Shawn and Bret were my two childhood favorites. Can't have a Bret Hart figure without a Shawn Michaels figure, because, you know, you need sunny days if you're helping your homies find their smiles. I mean, you can't find shit if the lights are off. So as long as you're having sunny days, my friend, you'll eventually find your smile. So I got Shawn to pair with that Bret. I don't know when that Bret is going to come out. He should be coming out shortly, but I just want to take note real quick. Like, these boxes are very similar to the Masters of the Universe Masterverse boxes. You know, you got the front window display, you got the side art. Even though the WWE packaging has the Superstars image on both sides of the packaging, it says Elite on the one side, and it has the WWE Legends logo on the other. But on the back, it says Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels made his mark as a tag team trailblazer as part of the Rockers, but had larger ambitions. With a single super kick, he broke his tag team. He broke Brutus Beefcake's barbershop window. And he broke through WWE's glass ceiling. The Heartbreak Kid emerged from the shattered pieces of the Rockers, beginning a path to becoming one of the greatest superstars in WWE history. And Shawn Michaels is shown being a part of a wave of 4 that includes AJ Styles when he was a WCW jobber when WCW was bought by WWE in 2001. There's the Ultimate Warrior, who's actually rocking his Dingo Warrior mustached version of the character. Basically, he was the Dingo Warrior before he got signed to WWE, and then Vince McMahon was like, what the hell's a dingo? So he basically got renamed Dingo Warrior to Ultimate Warrior, and then you got Ken Shamrock. So yeah, I got the WWE Elite version of HBK, and that's my first purchase. That's my first WWE character that I purchased since starting this toy collecting venture, and I'm going to talk about it on a future episode of the Original Geeks podcast. But I do have a WWE Ultimate Edition Hulk Hogan figure that's based on Hulk Hogan from 2002, 2003, when he was back in WWE, back in the red and yellow. But it was like right before the Mr. America bit. So when I look at this Hulk Hogan figure, to me, this is the Hulk Hogan that's getting ready to have that rematch from WrestleMania 18 with The Rock. So I got that Hulk Hogan figure, but that Hulk Hogan figure was given to me actually by my daughter's boyfriend, Nathan. Nathan won it in a raffle that he won that was being held at a benefit show that Excite Wrestling was throwing in honor of our friend Jeff Greeno, who passed away last year. And Nate and my daughter went to the show. Nate and my daughter bought some raffle tickets for the gift baskets that they were raising money for. And Nate wound up winning 4 of those fucking raffles that night. It's crazy. He won that Hulk Hogan figure. He won a unopened AEW Jack Swagger figure. He won an autographed Juventud Guerrera mask. And he won a actual replica of the NWA United States Championship. And it's absolutely sick. And he wound up giving me the Hulk Hogan figure because it's just one of those generational things. Like when I started watching wrestling and everything's all Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man and Saturday Night's Main Event and WrestleMania 1, 2, and 3, you know, you had back in the day legends that I was hearing about in wrestling magazines like Bruno Sammartino, Superstar Billy Graham, Bob Backlund, Lou Thez, and other legends. But all of their footage was like black and white and back in the day. All their pictures were black and white and back in the day. Everything just seemed old as fuck and way before my time because it wasn't in color. It wasn't on cable. You know what I mean? It just seemed like they're like dinosaurs of pro wrestling. I want to watch Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. You know what I mean? And Jake the Snake and shit. I don't got time for Lou Thez or Danny fucking Hodge. You know what I mean? So as I got older, continuing to be a wrestling fan, I learned about those wrestlers and whatnot. I have a greater appreciation for them now. But Nate's in the same boat where I was back in the day because Nate's looking at Hulk Hogan as some old fucking dusty boomer, and he's not wrong. But the thing is, Nate knows modern Hulk Hogan. My daughter was born in 2001. My daughter was born 2 months before WCW got bought. You know, Nate's like 2 years older than my daughter. So, Nate's 23. So, either way, I'm doing the math. Nate's like a 1999 baby. He was born during the Attitude Era. So, of course, like, even NWO Hogan to Nate is like dinosaur and ancient, which to me kind of baffles my fucking mind. But Nate only knows modern Hulk Hogan, and honestly, Hulk Hogan's had his fair share of ups and downs, whether it was his reality show, divorce with his wife, the whole Bubba the Love Sponge sex tape thing, his his son Nick giving his son Nick booze when he's underage, so Nick can get into a car accident and turn his best friend into a fucking vegetable. okay? And then you got Hulk Hogan's leaked racist voicemail messages that got him yanked from the Hall of Fame the first time, and, you know, forgive and forget to a degree. But speaking of that, I'm just saying with this Hulk Hogan racist thing, the one thing I really love, I love you people that post videos online of WWE 2K games where you show all the black wrestlers in the ring just beating the shit out of one dude playing as Hulk Hogan. I saw some video that was, I was dying because it was like Hulk Hogan getting the shit kicked out of him by the New Day. Mark Henry was in there. I think Shelton Benjamin was in there. I know Mark Henry was in there, and everyone's just beating the shit out of Hulk Hogan in this fucking game, and it was absolutely hilarious. But the thing is, it's like Nate gave me that figure, and the thing is, like, that Hulk Hogan figure sits in my basement next to my editing monitors. You know, that figure that Nate gave me is my little tribute, you know, to my friend Jeff. And it's weird because it's like, it's weird because with me losing Pete, that absolutely crushed me. And which, by the way, too, shout out to Hybrid Sean Carr for giving me the weightlifting bar. It's been 2 years since I started my workouts, so thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for helping motivate me with that shit. Motivate, not motivate. What? Alright, but yeah, apparently I'm just rambling this episode, but hey, content! So yeah, we got the Shawn Michaels figure. Hybrid Sean Carr hooked me up with a weightlifting bar. It's been 2 years since I've been sticking with my workouts, not missing a workout and whatnot. But going back, like I said, you know, Pete died. I was absolutely crushed and devastated about it. I'm not around wrestling as much as I would really love to be. I really miss being a part of indie wrestling, and especially Excite Wrestling. And special shout out to Johnny Moose, because he's one of my Patreon subscribers. And, which means by association, Excite Wrestling is a Patreon subscriber of Excite Wrestling and of Ian vs. Daddybones. But the thing is, I love Excite Wrestling. I really miss not being a part of Excite Wrestling. And honestly, I haven't really talked about it, but, you know, it really sucks that Jeff passed away. And my heart really goes out to his wife, Lisa, who I'm friends with on social media, and I can just see how much this has been affecting her over the past year, not to mention friends, family, colleagues, co-workers, other wrestlers, and everybody that's known Jeff and been around Jeff for the past 10 years. It absolutely fucking sucks, and I can say that the Riot will never die, and we'll always honor and high-five and have nothing but good things to say about Jeff Carino and Anarchy, and that Hulk Hogan figure is the only thing I have left of Jeff Carino, and it's one of those type of things where that was gifted to me by my daughter's boyfriend. So that Hulk Hogan figure means a lot to me. You know, Nate may not give a shit about Hulk Hogan and think he's just some dusty old buster, and he's not wrong. But at the end of the day, that Hulk Hogan figure means a lot to me, and it's a welcome addition to my collection. So I'm glad to have him stand next to my Masterverse figures. And my other WWE figures, but I know that once I add Clamp Champ to my collection, Clamp Champ's gonna be keeping a fucking eye on Terry. Side eye at all times. But, moving on, over the course of Masters of the Universe Origins, at the end of 2019, going into 2020, when Mattel launched Masters of the Universe Origins, and the line was starting out and beginning to hit stores, you know, you had Wave 1. Wave 1 was like your basic 6 figures. And you had Battle Cat. They put out Castle Grayskull. But then they were gauging how is the line doing, you know? Let's put a few things out, see how people respond to it. And if it goes over well, then we'll just continue, and we'll just be a slow trickle and release of vehicles and figures and play sets here and there. And basically, everything is determined based on how healthy the line is currently doing. Is it selling in retail? Is it selling online? Hashtags in social media. Are people talking about it? I mean, YouTube galore. There's tons of toy reviews and shit. I mean, honestly, a lot of inspiration for this fucking channel came from other shit I was watching that tied right into what I was currently doing. But, you know, when it comes to when the line started when the line started growing and they were moving on to like wave 2 and wave 3, that's when more products started getting released. So with Masters of the Universe Origins, there were 2 vehicles that were released by 2021. The first vehicle was released, which I actually like and I despise it at the same time because it's a tease. The first vehicle that got released was the box set of Prince Adam with the Sky Sled. Now the Sky Sled is the front part of the battle ram. This amazing vehicle that is part of the Masters of the Universe collection. A lot of kids had it in the 80s, and it's basically that big blue tank that the person rides in the front, kind of like a motorcycle. You know what I mean? Or they're on like a four-wheeler, sitting in the Sky Sled. But the thing is, the Sky Sled pops off the front of the battle ram. So it's like it could drive in like a tank, and it's got its 3 red missiles that fire out of it. And you could separate the Sky Sled from the battle ram and have the Sky Sled be an air vehicle, because honestly, in the Filmation cartoon, that Sky Sled was shown all the time. Like, that was like the air motorcycle that like He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, Man-E-Faces, whenever they needed to go somewhere, that was their mode of transportation if they weren't using the Wind Raider. Now, I didn't bring the Sky Sled and Prince Adam with me today. I'm gonna have that next week because they did release they've released a decent number of vehicles so far in the line, but I figured I knew how this episode was gonna go before we started, so I knew I wasn't gonna have enough time to talk about everything. So I'm breaking the vehicles up. So next week I'm gonna be talking about the Wind Raider and the Sky Sled fully, but basically the Sky Sled by itself and Prince Adam came out. So all of us fans, we're still waiting for them to put out the second half of the battle ram, if they're gonna put it out at all. I mean, for all we know, this standalone Sky Sled could just be one of those random sky motorcycles just to put a character on. Because the interesting thing about the Sky Sled that I thought was neat was the Sky Sled came with a display stand. Came with a display stand that had a base that basically looked like it was ground or rock, and then it had this translucent peg that popped into a hole, and it was on a hinge so it can rock. It could move forward or back, and it rotates. So there's a hole underneath the Sky Sled that the stand pops into. So then you just have it. It makes it look like your Sky Sled is hovering above the ground. And you could display Prince Adam and put it on him and it looks pretty fucking fresh. So I got the Sky Sled when I first started collecting these figures. That was actually the first vehicle I got. I was actually able to. Now that I think about it, I ordered Prince Adam and the Sky Sled from Target. Target mailed it to me. And it was another shitty delivery on Target's end, because I remember they took Prince Adam and the Sky Sled, which came in a box just like this with the plastic window display. They put it in a shipping bag. They just shoved it in a white shipping bag, slapped the fucking label on it and shit, and mailed that. So when I got my Sky Sled in the mail, the plastic was all banged up and cracked. Prince Adam was in the figure. Was in the packaging. He was secured to the packaging, but his pink power sword got loose and knocked around. So Target wound up giving me a refund for that. They wound up crediting my account, But I actually wound up finding Prince Adam and the Sky Sled at Walmart for like $5 cheaper than what Target was selling it for. So I eventually got my perfect condition Prince Adam and the Sky Sled, which I also want to point out real quick. Inside the land shark right here, you'll see I got Prince Adam's lower half because since I had the two Sky Sleds, I had two Prince Adam figures, and I tried giving I tried introducing Sadie to Origins He-Man and Origins Skeletor. At one point last year, I got Sadie her own He-Man and Skeletor from what I've been collecting. Now, I learned real quick, Sadie sucks with playing toys, and Fisher Price and Play School shit exists for a reason, because Sadie doesn't understand a goddamn thing about 16 or 30 points of articulation, because Sadie had no problem bending the elbow the wrong way, or moving the arm the wrong way, or trying to bend the leg on He-Man the wrong way, and basically snapping the plastic pegs. So like He-Man had a permanently broken knee, and long story short, I salvaged parts because I figured for the hell of it, for the display, I could just throw the Prince Adam legs in the land shark. So yeah, Sadie totally sucks when it comes to He-Man figures, which is why I bought her the Netflix CGI toy line. But like I said, you know, they started coming out with the vehicles, and I'd like to real quick give a shout out and a thank you to our friend Sarah. Sarah is a friend of Amber's and mine. Sarah's daughter used to go to the same used to go to the same elementary school as my daughter Natalia, and they were friends in school. And then the pandemic happened, and Sarah wound up moving and whatnot. So Sarah's daughter doesn't go to the school anymore. So either way, we're still friends online and whatnot. So Sarah happened to be out and about running errands, and she was at Target, and she sent me a picture on social media of the land shark, and asked me if I had it, and I told her I didn't. And she actually wound up grabbing the land shark for me, and I wound up paying her for the land shark. So I actually have this land shark right here because of Sarah seeing it at Target that one day. So thank you very much, Sarah, for helping contribute to my collection of Masters of the Universe Origins. But yeah, the land shark was the second major vehicle that was released in the Origins line, not counting Battle Cat or Panther. I mean, they're animals, they're steeds, they're rides, they're not vehicles. A vehicle is a motorcycle or a car or an airplane. It's not a fucking animal. So therefore, Battle Cat and Panther don't count as vehicles. They're ride-ons. And, but the Land Shark, definitely, this was a vintage vehicle that was released back in the day. And I know for a fact that my buddy Bobby from back in the day definitely had a land shark, because I was super jealous that he had a land shark and I didn't, because just the fact that, you know, we were able to move this motherfucker, and the fact that the shark jaw would go up and down and chomp, you know, your figures that was pretty graphic to me. You know what I mean? Seeing this giant metal jaw crunch down on He-Man, like, even though it's plastic, there's no violence. That was still violent, and you know, with the ferocity and whatnot, and it's just the intensity and shit. But it's like in a world before Mortal Kombat and blood codes like Abacab, you could buy this shirt at Store Frontier, Ian versus Daddybones. But in a world before Mortal Kombat, blood and gore and over-the-top, extreme this, awesome that, purple ketchup, you know what I mean? This was like over the top to me. Like, oh my god, I can't believe you could make the shark eat them, and it was just so amazing to me. I absolutely love this goddamn thing. And then it's got the twin side-mounted guns, and I do gotta say that while this is the Origins version of the Land Shark, there is some subtle differences between this and the vintage 80s. For example, in this version, both of the side guns are completely identical, but in the vintage vehicle, each side had a different looking gun. So it still had 2 guns. It's just one of them looked like this, and the other side had a completely different design of its gun. But for the purpose of my display and having my figures on the shelf, just for the hell of it, shits and giggles, just to have somebody in there, I have Cronus, aka Trapjaw before he became Trapjaw, and this character totally sucks, even though I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Cronus is coming out, and then I opened it up, and I'm like, what was I so excited for? This character's lame as shit. But yeah, I got the Land Shark. It's still dope. It still retains its back in the day action feature, so I really can't complain. And at this point, what am I really complaining about? I'm almost 44 for crying out loud. I mean, at this point, this is keeping me from going crazy, so I really shouldn't be going crazy over shit that's keeping me from going crazy. But the Land Shark's super dope. I'm definitely glad I was able to grab one. Again, thank you, Sarah, for hooking me up for that. But moving on, like I said, we had Snake Men Wave 1, Snake Men Wave 2, but going back to Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 10, our next vehicle is the Roton. This was the vehicle that was released with part of Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 10. And again, let me see here, let me pop it off its base. Because basically with the Roton, it has an action feature like the Land Shark. You push it forward, the jaws go up and down. This thing has a buzzsaw effect. You roll it, it turns, and it rotates. And absolutely fresh. Now I gotta say, I did not have a Roton as a child, so adult me is really happy that I was able to find this. And the one thing about the Roton I'm going to point out real quick is with this Roton, it just came in the box. And unfortunately, unlike the other vehicles like the Wind Raider or the Sky Sled, the Roton did not come with a display stand. So another shout out to Andy Header, because Andy Header was able to find a Wind Raider on clearance at Walmart for like $9. So he hit me up one day. He's like, hey, you already got a Wind Raider, right? Because I got him at Walmart for $9. And I told him, I do have a Wind Raider. However, if they're only selling it for $9, that $9 is totally worth it for the second display stand alone, because I know the Roton's not going to come with one. So if I get that second Wind Raider for $9, then I got that display stand. So with the second Wind Raider display stand, now I have a display stand for my Roton. So that way I can have it up in the air and, you know, have it look pretty dope with the display. But the one thing I do want to point out with this Roton that's completely different than the back in the day Roton is I'm trying to think how do I get this up. Here we go. All right, it's not exactly, well, should it? Okay, apparently the front faceplate, it doesn't want to come off, so I'm not going to screw with it right now. But basically, it comes with this roll cage that pops on the front of it. It's got 2 pegs in the front. It's got 2 pegs in the back that pop into the holes. It also has 2 guns that pop into place. You could actually take the guns off, and looking at the guns, the pegs that pop into the holes on the gun, it's actually the same size as like the regular gun handles. So like so Evil Lyn or Cronus could actually you could take the guns off the Roton so they could actually hold it in their hand. But so it's got the 2 guns. It had the roll cage, and it also has this, I don't know what, it's like a samurai mask that pops onto the front of the Roton, because it's got the monster teeth, it's got the monster eyes, but also when you pop this off, it has the original like creepy spider bug eyes, whatever the hell type of eyes they're supposed to be that's on the front of the Roton. Those are still intact. But the one thing I think is really neat is about this Roton is the fact that it comes with the front faceplate mask, because I've never really seen that faceplate mask in use before, like in the vintage toy line. I don't really recall ever seeing it. There's only one place I recall seeing this mask, and back in the 80s, and even going back to like back in the 70s and back in the 60s, plastic model kits were very popular. My generation, I don't know, depended on how dorky and nerdy you were, depended on whether or not you liked playing with plastic model kits. And again, I'm not bashing anybody, because I totally thought they were cool. I honestly just didn't. I didn't have the patience, nor the skill, nor the time management, or the dedication, or the discipline to stay committed to that type of thing. You know what I mean? I was more of a, I'd rather play with Legos and build than deal with this plastic model kit and dealing with glue and shit. So basically, they had models that you would glue together, and then they also had models that snap together. Now, they had these snappable models that came out in the 80s, and there were like 3 of them based on Masters of the Universe. One was the Roton, I think. One was the Talon Fighter, and there was I believe a 3rd model kit. But the box of the Roton model kit had this samurai Bushido mask faceplate on the Roton. So I remember seeing that and thinking that was weird, because it didn't look like the Roton. Why does it have different eyes than the eyes that are normally on the front of it? But then again, those models also had backwards color schemes and whatnot, and it is what it is. But overall, I gotta say, and just for the record, I don't know if y'all paid attention, but inside my Roton, I actually have my 2000X Masters of the Universe Origins Evil Lyn figure sitting in the Roton, because honestly, before I got started with Ian vs. Daddybones, I was collecting everything. I'd like open shit up, but then I would baggie up all the figures and like keep them in a storage container while I was like building my collection before I was in a position to display anything. So once I started displaying everything, when it got time to take Evil Lyn 2000X Lyn out of her plastic bag and pose her so she could stand, unfortunately I got one with a bad left foot, because I went to stand her up and like move her foot, because the way the feet joint work is like they rotate, but they also are on a swivel, so they go up and down and even side to side. It's absolutely amazing how the feet work on these figures. But at the same time, with the women, with the female figure feet, they're more fragile. So when I was basically trying to pose Lyn, the hinge just popped right off, and she wasn't even and her foot won't even pop back into place. So since I can't stand her to display her, the only purpose she serves is sitting on her ass. So I have her in the Roton just chilling, and then I had the roll cage on top of it, but so you can't really tell unless you look closely. But either way, it still looks pretty fucking fresh. But like I said, you got the display stand that it pops on, and depending on how you want to pose it, you know, it moves. You can have her looking like she's taking off, moving around. However you want to display, it's up to you. But honestly, I think the display stands on the aerial vehicles are absolutely sick. I hope they continue to do that with anything else they plan to release in the future. And based on what I'm hearing, it looks like we may be getting Point Dread and the Talon Fighter at some point this year for Masters of the Universe Origins. Point Dread and the Talon Fighter is this big falcon, like blue, gold, and like red ship. But it sits atop this green rock that's known as Point Dread. But Point Dread can also fit on top of Castle Grayskull. So it's kind of like you have like a tower edition on Castle Grayskull that the Talon Fighter can sit on top of. So that's coming out at some point this year. But moving on, this is going to be the part of the show where everything's going to get really fast and you get to listen to my crappy rap song Party Gras. For anyone wondering too, the rap song that you hear on the time lapse, that's actually Party Gras. That's my first solo rap track that I actually had published on Google Play. So I could actually say that's the only song that I ever made money on. I didn't sell a lot of copies of Party Gras by any means, but I could definitely say I made enough money off Party Gras to at least take my family out to dinner twice. So that's pretty fucking fresh for my shitty fucking rap song, considering I got no skills. But moving on, let's open up Mekaneck and the Ground Ripper.
Fuck Ian Daddybones. Fuck Twin Widow, whatever the hell it is. No one gives a shit about you, Ian. Everyone hates you. Fuck off.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a banger and you're all invited. Share with friends and I'll see you later. Bring everyone, invite my haters. Throw your hands in the fucking air. Let's push a cripple down a flight of stairs. Got new shit right for your ears. My Hadouken is downright fierce. Rock out with my cock out. Jump around, I got your shout outs. I'm Daddybones, no need to panic. Talking riddles like a schizophrenic. 24/7, I got the party. Roofie-roos and whoop-de-doos. Retarded fools with attitudes. Bro, everything's mixed with Bacardi. Glow stick black like tons of bubbles. Titties on bitches, nothing but trouble. Got my pills, ain't no quitter. Pop that shit, here comes my glitter. Not a dancer, I got no skills. Bobbing my head and standing still. Tons of bitches, ravers, goths. Down the fuck and get your salad tossed. It's the greatest thing that you ever saw. Put your hands in the air for a party. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a bang and you're all invited. Hey kids posing, muscles flexing, training's dressed like your favorite X-Men. If there's one thing that drives me crazy, you give high fives but you fucking hate me. Might have rabies, might have herpes. Breastfeed me and you'll have to burp me. I'll be up on stage, throwing out beads, grabbing my dick and spraying my seed all over your face. That's fucking rude. Raise it up and show your boobs. Dance around and go friggin' nuts. Just b-boy stance and light your blunts. Don't be a cunt. Tuck your chain, don't start no shit. Use your brain, it's all a game. Let's play some Yahtzee. Eat Tide Pods and punch a Nazi. Not a dancer, I got no skills. Bobbing my head and standing still. Tons of bitches, ravers, goths. Down the fuck and get your salad tossed. It's the greatest thing that you ever saw. Put your hands in the air for a party. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a bang and you're all invited.
It's yours?
No,
My mother said she found it in your closet.
I don't know when I got in this.
Closet of what?
Look, Dad, it's not like you did it. Dad,
Answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
you alright? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
Alright, we're back. Mekaneck, Dickneck, and the Ground Ripper has been officially unboxed and opened. He looks really fresh, especially compared to the vintage figure and vehicle. Like I told the Patreon subscribers, Mekaneck does not have his action features, so he doesn't have the periscope neck. Instead, he actually has an erection neck attachment that pops on his neck peg, and then his head pops on the peg on the neck extension. And honestly, the Snake Man Ratlore actually has the same action feature, because back in the day, Ratlore had a button, his neck would strike out because he was a rattlesnake, and unfortunately, neither one of them had their action features. They both had the boner neck extension. So I'm going to be bitching and complaining about that when I get my Ratlore. But yeah, there he is in all his glory, Mekaneck and the Ground Ripper. Wonderful addition to the line. If you're interested in getting one yourself, hit up your Target, hit up your Walmart, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. I'm sure you'll find one. Amazon, wherever you want to go. But he's officially out. He's officially available. Now, some of the vehicles, some of the figures, warm pegs, sit on shelves. I'm all about the figures. I love the vehicles. I'm trying to complete the entire collection as I'm knocking over my shit. But great additions to your collection, to the line. If you go to Target, it's hit or miss. You never know what you're gonna find, and it's even like that with the prices. He may be available full price. You may find him on clearance. He may be on sale that week. You never know. But either way, search before you buy, search before you hunt, and do your background research, and you'll grab one. But I do want to say real quick before we head out of here, I'm going to be having some more video game footage available as bonus content for the Patreon subscribers, as well as on the OnlyFans page. At some point, right now the OnlyFans is free. The OnlyFans is going to be $5 a month when the Original Geeks podcast comes back. But the Original Geeks podcast content is going to be available for sale. The rest of the OnlyFans is still going to be free, but I'm going to be charging for the Original Geeks podcast. But basically, what I found out is I got me, my wife, my kids. We're all on a family plan with our I have a family library through my Google Play account, and so like all my movies, all my books that I bought digitally. I have shared through the family library, including games, and on my new device, on my Google Pixel that I got, I have my second account added to the family plan. But I noticed some of my games that I bought weren't showing up as available in the family plan, even though I knew they were before. So I had to go back to my master dad account, and I basically had to like for example, I bought Minecraft. I bought the mobile version of Minecraft for Owen. Owen's not the biggest fan of mobile Minecraft because he likes the console version more. So either way, I paid $8 years ago for mobile Minecraft, and now with all the updates and shit, I got my Minecraft on my Pixel was trying to charge me $8 for it. Even though I already paid for it, it should be under my family library. So under my dad account, I hit the on-off switch for Minecraft's addition to the family library. Then I turned it back on, and then I checked the second device, and now Minecraft was available for me to install. So I had to go through my checklist of purchased games, and at the end of the day, two of my favorite games over the past 10 years, especially when it comes to my son Owen and playing video games, two of our favorite games together as father and son, I would say, would be Terraria and Minecraft. Got him introduced to Minecraft. I also got him introduced to Terraria, which is a pixel sprite-based 2D side-scrolling RPG evolving 2D version of Minecraft and more, and it's absolutely fucking sick. So now I got Terraria back. So already on the OnlyFans, there's a video of me starting a brand new game in Terraria, and I gotta admit I'm kind of struggling with it at first because I got the touchscreen controls, but at the same time I got my Nintendo Switch Pro controller paired with the Google Pixel, so I'm able to play Terraria with a controller. But right now I'm at the point to where I'm trying to map all the buttons correctly so it doesn't play like a clusterfuck, even though the touch controls aren't going to kill me. It's just the sensitivity between devices I'm getting used to and whatnot. But I'm going to be having Minecraft, I'm going to be having Terraria, and I even downloaded the remake of Disney's DuckTales that Capcom originally put out on the Nintendo Entertainment System back in like 1990. And that was one of the OG greatest games ever on Nintendo. Capcom's DuckTales was like the perfect example of a licensed game being done right. It is such a classic. and it was reintroduced on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era of gaming, where it had updated graphics, voice cast reunited, has full voice acting and cutscenes between levels and even during the levels. It's absolutely sick. Wonderful trip down memory lane. So right now, up on the OnlyFans, I also have the first level of me starting my game of DuckTales, so y'all could go check that out for free. And again, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube button and you don't intend on subscribing to the Patreon, that's totally cool, man. No one's got a gun to your head. No one's forcing you to subscribe or pay for the show. It's not like I'm Jeffrey Dahmer over here making you watch the show. You're watching Ian versus Daddybones, and then you can leave. Yeah, I'm not doing that to you. You know what I mean? It's just a handshake and a high five. You want to throw me $1? Awesome. This is what I have to offer you. But overall, in general, it doesn't cost anything to hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything to hit the share button. We're trying to get these numbers up, and high five and a thank you and a shout out to everybody new who's been subscribing to the channel. Those of y'all making comments and interacting with the episodes, I see you. I reply back when I can. I make sure to click that heart notification on your comments. And like I said, every episode we're growing. Every week it's 1 to 2 new people being added to the Patreon. Every week it's somebody who doesn't even want to subscribe to the Patreon, but they'll throw money on my PayPal. Thank you. I got a $50 donation last week that's going right back into the show. That $50 donation I got last week is getting me my brand new terabyte external hard drive, because I'm running out of storage space between everything I got at the house with editing the show. So like I said, with all your support, we're constantly growing, constantly building it. And every dime I get is thrown right back into the show, whether it's equipment I need to improve my lighting, whether it's making sure I'm getting something pre-ordered and securing something to talk about on a future episode of the show. We're all in this together, and you are definitely doing your part by helping me out. It's a lotto ticket. We both win. You throw me $1 for a month, you get 30 days of bonus content and your name in the credits. So with that said, I'll see you next week. Cheers, Pete!